For the memorial service of Coach Roger Cador. The order of service is on the last page of your program. We're going to have a welcome by Chancellor John Pierre. Then we'll have words from coaching colleagues Stanley Skip Bertman, Wilbert Ellis, Athletic Director Roman Banks, former players Coach Chris Crenshaw, Ricky Weeks Jr., Fernando Puebla, words from friends, the Honorable Hilla Moore, District Attorney, Alice Parks, author, the Honorable Attorney Tony M. Clayton, Attorney Des Moines Rutledge, and then we'll have final remarks and closing prayer. At this time, receive Chancellor John Pierre.
Good evening. It is an honor to welcome you to Southern University and A&M College at the Felton G. Clark Activity Center because we are here to honor a great man who lived a life which we all should want to live, a life of service. He cared for the people. He tutored, he mentored, he coached. And he represents all the great things that America stands for. He came from a small community, a small little parish, Point Coupee. And he always talked about those days that he was there, the walks he had to take to get to school, and all those things that are important. And he cared about people. So his accolades are too numerous to name. His impact is so great, and you can see by the people that are here on the stage, the dignitaries, the great and legendary leaders that are here, that he was highly respected and much loved. So on behalf of the Southern University Board of Supervisors, many of them who are here, Southern University and A&M College and the Southern University system, I want to welcome you to this service. Our condolences go out to the Cador family. We know what a deep loss you have suffered, but God blesses us each and every day, and God blessed us with Roger Cador, not only in Point Coupee and other places, but here on the bluff. I want you to remember this day as a day where we memorialize a great man. And I thank all of those who are here in attendance who recognize what a gift he was to us in life. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thanks, boys. I really liked Roger. One heck of a guy, but obviously one heck of a coach. 900 plus victories. Built a program at Southern University. What a guy. There's so much work needed to be done in order for baseball to get legs at Southern University. It was very difficult, although many administrators tried. It was very difficult, but Roger just wouldn't give up. I mean, here's a guy that 33 years, and he won 14 SWAC tournaments. He was a SWAC Coach of the Year 13 times. And of course, as a player, Richie Weeks went on to win the Golden Spikes Award, which is the best college player in America. And then, of course, went on to the big leagues. We were down in New Orleans playing a tournament. Number one team was Cal State Fullerton, number one in the country. Southern was in this 4-team tournament. And of course, LSU was there. Very first night, Cal State Fullerton and Southern played. And Southern wins this ball game 1-0. It was a wonderful game. What Roger did was put Southern onto the map as a great school and of course a wonderful baseball program. He did have a guy named Ricky Weeks, who was best college player in America, as it were, and won that award. Then he went on to the big leagues. He's a Louisiana legend. He's in every sports hall of fame there could possibly be. He did a lot of work professionally with Major League Baseball and their inner city activities. Naturally, Roger played at Southern. He was a gifted athlete, played basketball and baseball at Southern, played professional baseball, and for the Braves, minor league system for 5 years. He was probably the best athlete amongst all our coaches here in Louisiana. He was great. By the way, he played at Southern, and I told you 393 batting average as a junior. Then he went on to the Atlanta Braves and played in the minor league system for 5 years. Southern's in the SWAC, Southwestern Athletic Conference. And Roger's the only time winning as coach in any sport, leading the baseball team at his alma mater. 33 years, as I've said before. He was an assistant in basketball as well. He was a great player in basketball in his days at Southern, as well as baseball. He's long been an ambassador for Major League Baseball, and they tapped Roger and honored him for being so prominent in black baseball colleges in the United States. Roger's long been an ambassador for Major League Baseball. He's raised money for Baton Rouge area charities. He oversaw the construction of Lee Hines baseball field at the university. And as I said, that wonderful game at Cal State Fullerton. Roger was a good friend. He wasn't just a good baseball coach. He was a wonderful human being. Many of us met Monday nights at a restaurant, baseball coaches, baseball people. Of course, Roger was there. We loved him. You should love him, and most of you did. What a wonderful guy. Jonathan Cador was there. You know, I met Jeremy. I must say, if you knew Roger, you knew a great man, not just a good baseball coach, a great person. Yeah. He's been inducted into the Southwestern Athletic Conference Hall of Fame and then Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Been an ambassador, as I said, ambassador for Major League Baseball. He's done a lot of major league work for black youth leagues, which have been struggling. Roger did a great job. Yeah, he's an ambassador for Major League Baseball, and he's raised some money for the Baton Rouge area. I'm sorry. He was a good friend. Loved him. Thank you.
What do you say about a true American in baseball? He speaks for himself. Roger Cador. First met him when he was in college in the 70s. I was coaching as assistant coach at Grambling State University. And one day, after the game, we played Southern. Roger came over and introduced himself to me. He said, we know we have to play Grambling, and we have to be ready. And I told him, I said, when we play Southern too, Roger, we have to be ready. Roger Cador was a great humanitarian, a man who believed in reaching out and making a difference to all persons that he would come in contact with. But he cared about his players. He served as a role model for them and coached them the game of baseball. He believed in the basic fundamentals of the game, and he felt that this is the best way to win. Not only did he feel that way about each of his players, but other teams and other players and coaches respected Roger Cador because of what he had to offer. He was going to fight you on the field, and you had to really prepare yourself to win. Roger believed that a true individual needed to be able to develop his skills and his ability and his talent to be able to play the game of baseball, but he said they need to be developed to be able to have life skills. So whatever they go to do, they could be prepared to walk out into the mean, cruel world and make a difference from those who didn't have the same privilege and the opportunity. Southwestern Athletic Conference, he won all of the games, shared all the victories. But his most important victory, he said, I want to give back and I want to help somebody. I think that's what all of us need to think about, raising our children and all of that. Some parents brought their son and said, here's my son, take him and develop him. He believed in that. He taught them discipline, character, and ability, how to become successful beyond the baseball field. And that's what we don't have now in a lot of our communities. He wanted our communities to be better. He wanted to find means and ways for us as coaches and as players as we can finish playing the game in our institutions, to be able to go back to your community and make a difference. I had the opportunity for Bob Brady at Jackson State, myself, and Roger. We were honored at the HBCU Baseball Classic in Houston, Texas. And that was one of the greatest times of our lives. The three of us together. We talked about the game. We talked about life. But most of all, Roger wanted to talk about what we can do to get more African American baseball players in the game of baseball. And we have to do some things different. I bring greetings from Grambling State University and a condolence to the Southern University family and to the bereaved family of the Cador. I have more to say, but Roger said, let your words speak for yourself, and then be able to march down the aisles of victory and be able to let your light shine. Roger Cador has let his light shine. Good evening, Roger. See you in the sunset.
To the esteemed panel on the stage and to all the visitors here and to this baseball family and to all the visitors and to Coach Cador family. You know, I had the unique privilege of knowing Roger in many ways. When I came here as a young lad under Tommy Green and Ben Jobe as a basketball coach, I knew him well. And then when I came back in 2011 as the basketball coach, I knew him well. And then when I got promoted to the athletic director, I got to know him even better. And Roger, he had a wit about himself. He was kind of a funny guy because he always would say, we'd greet each other and he'd say, how you doing, young coach? Doing well. And I say, how you doing, Hall of Famer? He said, I'm doing well, but call me Big Coach. So I call you Big Coach, but check this out here. I said, okay, Big Coach. All right, how you doing? All right. I said, why Big Coach? Because when you get in this business, you get old after a period of time. And so I remember that because one of the last games he probably, about a year ago at baseball, we all out at the baseball game. And I was like, how you doing, Big Coach? I said, doing all right. And then guess what he said, y'all, how you doing, Big Coach? I said, I guess I'm getting older in this game, huh? He said, yep, that's what I mean. But obviously, you know, Coach had his ways, and as Coach Berman and Coach Ellis shedded the light on his accomplishments, Coach Bergman took all my stats and everything, and so I won't be redundant. He said the AD speech, right? But I know Roger was always concerned and always had the humility where he always recognized his team. And I know what the team meant to him, and I know what he means to the players. And so I'm gonna take this time to ask all his players to stand and for everybody to give him a round of applause. Because truly they're here today for a reason, and look at the numbers that they're in to signify the love and respect that they have for their coach. You may be seated. You know, a couple things, I'm gonna take my seat real quick because, you know, to hear these great stories, and I've been putting my ear to the ground and hearing all these stories about it, but I told Coach a lot of times, he and I talked, and I said, you know, Coach, it's a few things I get a joy from when I watch you coach. So I never had the privilege of being a baseball player. And actually, I played basketball and enjoyed football, but I really like baseball. And I said one thing, and I've been watching TV, and the news been running quite a bit. I said, Coach, I'd love to see you work that third base line. He get down there and get him on there and start waiting a minute. And then I said, Coach, I said, I seen you when you won. We had all these highlights back in the day, but this is a real true story back in the day. And, you know, the SID office keeps some things. And I seen, and they played it yesterday while I was sitting down watching the news. And I said, look at Coach doing the stanky leg. And guess what I told her? I said, Coach, I remember that time when you did the stanky leg. I really enjoy you all stanky leg. But more than anything, when we're sitting out there eating chicken wings and french fries at the baseball game, Roger loved to get this hot sausage and fill it up with mayonnaise and eat 2 or 3 of them. I said, Coach, how you do that? our young coach is really good, really good. You got to be a man to handle this. And so, with that being said, Coach was a good friend, and our close with saying that he used to come watch my team practice all the time, and we had pretty good success. And he used to come in and talk to me, and we talk, and had the privilege of him and the other coaches that are true legends here. And we have to recognize that who we are walking around, because sometimes we take it for granted. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to work very hard to put his name out there on the baseball facilities. And we're going to work even harder, not just to make that the Cador facility, but to also put his picture out there to make that happen. And I think he deserved that. Ain't that right? But Coach, what I want to say to you, you always say it all the time when I'm working out here, Coach, you're a championship coach. You do a good job. And I used to say the same thing, Coach, you're a Hall of Fame coach. You do a good job, big coach. But what I need to say, and I probably never said it, you're the best coach that I know. Rest in peace, Coach.
Good evening. I was fortunate enough to play for Coach, and I got to come back, and I'm the head coach now. And as y'all see, all these players that showed up today, he did something to each one of us for us to be here, and especially some of you other guests that's here. When I became the head coach, he used to call me at 10 o'clock every night, and we used to do Zoom calls. And we would practice going over stuff so he won't want me to speak well, but I had chances to do interviews. And we did it for about 6 months, my first year as a head coach. I never got to do many like on the camera interviews. I did a bunch of newspaper interviews, but I think he was getting me ready to have talks like this, to stand up here and tell him thank you. I'm sure there's a lot of other people here that want to say thank you for everything that he did for each one of us. He had a special relationship with each one of us. I can't say he treated me the same as he treated someone else, but he made sure that we all felt special. He made sure that we answered the demands that he put on us, and he made sure we played hard. And one of the things that I can always remember when I came on my visit, I showed up with some earrings in my ear. And he turned his back to me. And I was like, what's going on? Like, I'm here. You got me to come down here. Like, why you turn? He said, I'm not talking to you till you take them out. I had no idea what he was talking about. And Coach Pepper tapped me on the shoulder and said, your earrings, take them out. I said, all right. So I took them out. And he said, now give them to me. I handed it to him. He turned around and threw them. I was mad. But he shook my hand after that. And he told me he was going to hold my hand for as long as he could. When I turned 40 in March, I went to go see him, and he told me, I'm still holding your hand. So that's my spiel on Coach, and I appreciate everything you did for me, and I'm sure everybody here can say the same thing for them.
My name is Ricky Weeks. I want to give my condolences to the family, the baseball alumni here at Anson University. This is a very tough one for me. He's a very dear friend of mine, obviously. Going through the ranks of college baseball, coming from Little Altamont Springs, Florida, and growing up to be a young man. So a lot of times we talk about success a lot. We talk about how Coach Cador would say success with his dialect from New Orleans, Louisiana. But for me, success that he exuded, I think for me was, it's not always the big house is success, or the job that comes from monetary value, or the people that you know. Sometimes it's from the people that you affect, the lives that you live, the people that you bring about. And I think for me, seeing these beautiful faces here today with the baseball alumni, we have doctors, lawyers, educators, executives, head coaches, chancellors, people like that. So we have to understand the life that he lived and gave us from day one. That's the most important part about success that in my lifetime that I've grown to learn. Also, I think that the story that comes to mind, it's a little bit graphic, but it was a baseball game. It's a baseball game in Milwaukee, and in Milwaukee, Coach Kelly, he'll just pop up. My GM will call me, hey, your coach is here. Okay, cool. Then he would proceed to go to the stands, and at the time I'm dating my wife, Tiffany, and he sits down next to her and he pops off the shoes, and then goes to socks, and then his feet go over across the next, chairs, and now she's embarrassed. So you have to understand who Coach was. But I'm going to backtrack a little bit now. He was a dear friend of mine, like I said, and every day I would go to his office, and we would just sit and talk. We would sit and talk about ways to do better. He might not talk to me like he talked to Rob Primus, or Jamar Lewis, or Kevin Nelson. It was the way he talked to me. And it wasn't yelling and screaming, it was just do better. I would show up, do better. So I call on everybody today, including Southern University, let's do better. Southern Athletics, let's do better. Baseball alumni, let's do better. All for one for all.
Good evening. I want to start by, first of all, saying thank you for all the people that helped Coach throughout this whole journey. True friend, Mr. Hiller Moore, Mr. Des Moines Rutledge, and of course, Miss Betty. Thank you for everything you did for your brother. I just want to share something about Coach. After he was diagnosed with the tumor, we had to make some decisions and get him the treatment that he needed. And without their support and help, there's no way we could have done it. So I want to say thank you for that. And I also want to let you know that after his surgery, his life was good. He didn't struggle. He didn't feel sorry for himself. He fought it. And he was very optimistic, and he enjoyed his life. To me, that's what keeps me together, knowing that he was fine. He truly was fine. He enjoyed himself, and all these players that called him. And then right after they called me, I was like, man, is Coach really sick? Because I just talked to him, and he sounds like nothing is happening. He was very lucid. He was very aware of the whole environment, and he truly enjoyed his life. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for being able to be in that situation, to care for him, because he took care of all of us. And I see a bunch of guys that I played ball with, that I recruited, guys that played ahead of us, that are, that's what you want your coach. You want him to be good, because he did it for us. He sacrificed a whole lot of his lifetime to make sure that we were better. He went beyond a coach. For most of us, he was a father figure. He told us what's the difference between wrong and right, and he held us accountable to make sure we did the right thing. So it's good to see you boys here, and now we're a little bit older, but we truly live his legacy. The no earrings, the doing the right thing, treating people, no matter who you are, what your title is, treat him right. Everywhere he went, he made sure he shook somebody's hand, say hello to every person, no matter who he was, no matter what their title was. And I see a bunch of people shaking their heads because you know exactly what I mean. You everywhere he walked, he was gonna shake your hand, and he was gonna say a joke about you. He was gonna make you smile. He was gonna make your day better. And for most of us, he made our lives better. And one of the things that I want to share is in his office. For most of us that had the opportunity to walk into his office, in the back, he had that framed picture of Jackie Robinson that says, "A life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives." And all of us sitting here today, in one way or another, he impacted us. So, Coach, I love you, man. Thank you for everything.
Good evening. Such an honor to be here today on behalf of my friend, family's friend, Jaguar Nation, distinguished guests, all of you have gathered to honor this extraordinary servant of God, and particularly servant of our community. We gather not simply to mourn a great baseball coach, but to celebrate a man who proved that faith, perseverance, and purpose can overcome every obstacle. Coach Roger Cador lived the truth of his own memoir, Against All Odds. Those were not just little words. Those were his testimony. Life handed Coach Cador hills that would have stopped most people from climbing. Barriers of race, limited resources, skepticism, and ultimately of illness. Every time life placed another stone in his path, he refused to surrender. He turned obstacles into opportunities. The Greeks told a story about a man by the name of Sisyphus. He was condemned to push a boulder up a mountain forever, watching it roll down every time. To most, that's a story about futility. But through Roger Cador's eyes, it looked different. Every climb made him stronger. Every setback was a chance to show courage. Every season began again with hope. Roger Cador wasn't condemned to his mountain. He was called to it. Every player, those that are here and those that could not make it, who walked into his program found a coach, a teacher, a father figure, someone who insisted that they become a better man before then a better athlete. He didn't just coach baseball. He coached hope. He coached dignity. He coached discipline. He coached destiny. Today, I don't think of Sisyphus, but I think of St. Michael the Archangel, the defender, who stands faithfully in the presence of God. Like St. Michael, Coach Cador understood that some battles are fought not with weapons, but with conviction, integrity, and faith. I imagine St. Michael lowered his sword to welcome home a different kind of warrior. One who fought for young men, for education, for the dignity of every human being. Some people count championships. God counts changed lives. Some people measure wins. God measures witnesses. Some people remember statistics. Heaven remembers servants. There's a moment in every game when the manager walks to the mound, not because the pitcher has failed, but because his work is done. I can almost see it now. The Lord walks out, he looks out at Coach, well, in this case, he looks up to Coach, and he says, "You've thrown enough. You've mentored enough. You've cared enough. Now, let me carry you." So, don't remember Coach only for his victories. Remember him for his vision. Don't remember him only for the championships. Remember him for the character that he built in other men. If you want to honor Roger, keep climbing, keep believing, keep fighting for the people who need someone to believe in them. That's how the coach lived. That's how the coach led. Rest well, Coach Roger Cador. Your climb is over. The victory is won. Farewell, my friend.
Good evening, everyone. My sincere condolences to the family, Miss Betty. Thank you. So I had the privilege, I say permission, to dive deep in Coach Cador's life when I got ready to write the book. So I first met him when he was recruiting in Glen Burnie, Maryland. This was during quiet season. I just want to make sure. It wasn't during quiet season. I want to make sure I get that out. But he came to, it was a showcase for catchers and pitchers, which my son was the pitcher at that time. And I saw him maneuvering through the crowd, tall, stocky guy. I kind of knew who he was. So I sat down on the bleachers. I said, eventually I'm going to go make my way over there to introduce myself. But instead he came over and sat with me. And I told him, well, he asked me who was my son. I told him my son was, and I was the mom. And he said, okay, I'm looking for a particular move that I want the pitcher to make so I know if he's a recruiting type. I said, okay. He never told me what that move was. I think he was testing my baseball knowledge. I think I had I've been around baseball my life, so, softball that is. And so I was like, okay, he's gonna test my knowledge, but stop talking to me and look at my son. And he kept going on and on and on. As you know, Coach, when he started talking, he continued to go on and on. So subsequently, another showcase came, and he started talking about life itself. He started telling me about his life. I said, oh my God, what's an awesome life? I said, have you ever thought about putting your life on paper? He said, there was a situation at one time, but it never fell through. I said, oh, I think it would be a wonderful book. He said, why don't you write it? I said, oh no, I'm not, that's not my skill set. I said, at that time, I was a speechwriter for the government agency I work with. And I said, no, that's not my skill set. He said, oh, you can do it. I said, Coach, no. And I kept saying no. I said, what part of no does he not understand? He kept saying, you can do it. I said, then he started calling me Dr. Parks, which I am not a doctor. So he said, Dr. Parks, I know you can do it. I said, I'm sorry, I cannot do it. He said, well, think about it and we'll discuss it later. Well, the rest is history. He got me on that one. So I had an opportunity with Dave, I'm not sure if Dave here, to dive, deep into Coach's life. And I felt privileged. And so we continued to write the book. So Dave would write our interview. And there was a couple of things I wanted to say about writing this book with Coach. It was just amazing who he was. And he felt comfortable enough with me to be vulnerable and transparent and let me know those things that's really was dear to him. So he loved his family. He was very protective of his family. So as we all know, if you have not read the book, that he was the son of a sharecropper who did not want to be a farmhand for the rest of his life. He wanted to go to school. So whenever he would tell a story with Dave, he would send it to me, Dave would send it to me, and I read it. If anything that sound outlandish or far-fetched, I have to go back. I said, Coach, in this one particular section, I said, Coach, I don't think that's accurate. He said, Dr. Parks, that is right. I said, I just cannot put nothing in print knowing that it's not, if I think it's not accurate. I said, if you don't mind, would you please give me the name of this person you were talking to and let me interview him and let me see what he says. So he gave me the person's name, I called him, and of course, his edge of his story was much smoother than Coach. I'm like, okay, I'm not surprised. So I went back to Coach and I said, well, Coach, this is what he said. He said, Dr. Parks, that is not accurate. I said, well, Coach, I just cannot put anything in the book without having both sides agree. I said, it was at the war of words, the war of war, art of negotiating. It was all together. So I started writing the things what the other person said, and I told Dave, I said, well, Dave, this is what the other person told me. Let's see, can we maneuver these words around? Only if we had AI, then AI would have really did a job for it. So, but for Dave, in his masterful writing, he was able to put it all together. So, because neither one wanted to concede, both of them thought they was right. I'm like, whew. So finally got it in writing, and we made that work. And I said, well, thank you, Lord, on that one. And then there was another time when we was getting ready to do the design of the book cover. I said, Coach, would you mind giving me a list of about a couple of photographers in the Baton Rouge area that I can call and vet, so they'll know exactly what I'm looking for? He said, oh, no, Dr. Parks, I have a person for you. I said, okay. I know exactly, he's going to do exactly what I want. I said, okay, works for me. I said, but I do need you on the diamond. I need you by the scoreboard, dugout, in all different colors of the jersey, in all the colors that Southern represent, and the hat. I said, I need body shot, I need whole body. This is what I need for the book. So he sent me a CD-ROM, and I started going through those pictures. I'm like, ooh, there's a lot. And there was one thing for all these pictures. I said, Coach is blinging. I said, no, Coach, we can't use these pictures. I said, we talking baseball, not GQ, with all your gold. I mean, he had everything except the diamonds. I know he doesn't like diamond earrings because he confiscated my son's diamond. I don't think they were diamonds anyway. He got a lot of diamonds from his players, earrings from his players. But I said, Coach, I'm sorry. We are talking baseball. I want you on a diamond, not diamonds on you. I said, so I need some more pictures. He said, okay, Dr. Paz, we'll go through this again. So eventually, if y'all seen the cover, we was able to get a nice picture of him. And so another instance in the book, so this was one particular one, I had sent the draft to the editor, and she said, well, I need you to go a little deeper in what he was saying, because you never want to leave the reader hanging. I thought, okay, so she told me what it was. I was like, ooh, that's tough. I was trying to, because Coach had given me boundaries, and I'm gonna get the closest to that boundaries as I could, well, as long as he allowed me to. So I called him up, and this was Skype. So we Skype. I said, Coach, I need to ask you a couple of questions according to the editor, because she said right now, a couple of things that need to be explained. So I said, okay, we'll do that. So we did the Skype, and of course, at that time, our bandwidth was so low. He said, well, why don't I just come to DC and we'll do a personal interview? I said, great. You get opportunity to meet the publisher who live in Maryland as well. So we was start interviewing. And I had to ask him questions that I really did not want to. I really did. These questions probably wouldn't make Oprah flinch, but they made me flinch, because as I was talking to him, I could see the impact of him when he was growing up, being a sharecropper, land, how it really impacted his life. He said, we would go to the general store with all their picking for the month. And the general store owner would say, you broke even. He said, Dr. Paz, I know we didn't break even. I know for sure we did not break even. He knew he was wrong. He knew that wasn't accurate, but there's nothing I can do. And that's why I did not want to be a sharecropper. I wanted to be educated. And at the time he had told his father that, Father, I want an education. I do not want to be a farmhand for the rest of my life. And at that point, that's when he decided that I'm going to make my life beyond a sharecropper son. And I think he felt that at this time, this is what I need to start my legacy of who I am. So another instance, when I was talking to Coach K was talking about the game of baseball and stuff. He said, oh, Dr. Paz, it has changed so much. I said, well, as long as 3 strikes in the game, I don't think it's changed. I said, maybe the players has changed, but the game is still the same. He said, I guess you got a point there. So I want to leave with you. I realized that when I was helping Coach write this book, his conviction was that he cared and loved and protected his son, his family. His humble beginnings made him very hungry. His work ethic assured his success, and his conviction for Jehovah was a priority. So I want to leave you with this. So Winston Churchill once said, you will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. I know Coach threw a lot of stones. I knew he did. But that was my friend. And what I think to me with that saying that you have to keep your eyes on the prize and try to minimize any distraction in your life as you try to go forward. And I'm sure that's what Coach was trying to do in his life, the legacy that he's left. And so the last time I spoke to Coach, I called him up last month. I said, hi, Coach, this is Dr. Parks, hey, Dr. Parks from Maryland. I said, yep, that's me. He said, Betty, I remember her name. This is Dr. Parks. I said, yes. So had I known, that would have been my last conversation with him. I don't know. It saddens me to know that Coach, not only was he my son's coach, he was my friend. So it's my prayer today to all of y'all that God make us better tomorrow than we are today, and be a blessing this month more than was blessed last month. To God be the glory. Thank you.
Coach Cador family hired me as his attorney. I was one of his lawyers. And I happened to be the chairman of the board, and he called me looking for some money for the baseball program. So I went over there to tell him what I thought about things, and he said to me, Tony, you're not that smart of a lawyer, and you're not as good as Des Moines as the chairman, so just stand up here and just listen to me. And I listened to him. And he ended up getting $1 million for that stadium, or that piece next to the stadium. As I look at you young guys, none of y'all have earrings in, so Coach must have left a legacy with you. But I'll say to you that with my chairman of athletics, both of them, Des Moines and Ronnie Whitfield, Coach left an indelible mark on all of us. You see, when you didn't have any NIL money, and for him to have flown to Florida and to get the likes of a Ricky Weeks, Coach, the best baseball player in the country with no NIL money, that's him. And let me tell you how he did it. I won't be up here that long. He did it through prayers. I said, Coach, how did you pull off the Ricky Weeks and those kind of guys? He said, I prayed with those kids and I prayed with their parents, and they trusted me with their children. You took, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but he took those young boys and look at the men that are out here today. That's a testament to Coach. That's awesome. So I say to you, family, I know you're sad, but Southern University is experiencing an all-time high. And the moment Coach took his last breath, he ascended to heaven, and he found Coach Mumford, and he's telling him, I won 913 games, more games than you, than anyone else. And he's up there making his way right now for guys like me when my time comes. This man meant a lot to me. He meant a lot to the guys who are going to come behind me. And I thank you, family, for loaning him to us for this period of time. Miss Betty, we love you, and we love you, Coach. Take care.
To all of the program participants and platform guests, to friends, all of his former baseball players, and most of all to this family, Jeremy particularly, I want to appreciatively and publicly acknowledge his sister, Miss Betty, who cared for him like he was a newborn baby. Roger the Dodger, that's what I called him. Neither the setting nor the time constraints will permit me to say all I could or would like to say, but I'm glad that I'm last because I can use up the other minutes that the folks did not use because we're supposed to be out here in 1 hour. I had so many wonderful and not so wonderful experiences dealing with Roger the Dodger. The first time I have ever been, and only time I have ever been fired, was by Coach Cador. He hired me, I was, I think, a sophomore in college to video the baseball games. The first game was in Houston, 3-game series against Texas Southern. I videoed it, and I thought I did a great job. I came back Monday. I was told that he was looking for me. I went to his office. He said, what did I hire you to do? Why did I take you to Houston? I said, to film the baseball game. He said, well, you filmed every thing other than the game, and you were fired. Later in life, when I had the privilege of succeeding Tony as his lawyer, I would remind him about 1,000 times how he fired me. We had so many special moments, so many lunches and dinners where we were seated in a restaurant and often complete strangers would come up to him and shake his hand, bring their children to meet him, and he treated every single person the same. I really admired that about him. I was able to share, again, a lot of special moments. Two come to mind. One, when he was inducted into the College Baseball Hall of Fame, he called me and asked me, along with Hilla Moore, Ricky Weeks, and Elliott, to join him in Omaha. That was a special weekend. Last October, Dusty Baker and his son Darren, that same little 3-year-old who they had to rescue at home plate during the 2002 World Series, came to Baton Rouge to visit Coach, and he called me to ask me to arrange dinner for Dusty and Will Clark and others that evening. That was a very special evening. I dare say to you as I take my seat that Southern University will not see the likes of Roger Cador ever again. He was unique in every respect and perhaps one of the greatest ambassadors this institution has ever had. Let me leave you with this. The important people know my name. The important people know who I am. Before he became ill, he and I would take a road trip to an away baseball game. The important people know who I am. It was very taxing for me because I had to pick him up from his house. He would get in my car, and wherever we were going, he was so accustomed to going the way that he wanted to go. He would boss me around. No, don't turn here, go this way, this kind of stuff. His sinuses always bothered him, so it could be 100 degrees outside, but Anna and Gail, he would tell me to turn off the air conditioner. I said, wait a minute, this is my car. Get to a restaurant, somebody would seat us. He said, well, I don't want to sit here. He thought everybody was on his baseball team and everybody knew who he was. The last game we went to was in Grambling. We get to the stadium. I go up to the ticket booth and I tell the young lady, it looked like a student work. I said, 2 tickets, please. He measures me aside and he says, he looks in the window where this young lady is. She says, do you know who I am? The young lady rather incredulously looked back at him and she says, no, sir. And, she's looking like, am I supposed to know who you are? So I nudged him to the side. I said, ma'am, they just gave him a weekend pass from the nursing home. Don't pay him any attention. I get the tickets and we walk into the stadium. The important people know my name. Get the 2 tickets, we walk in the stadium. The first person to see him was Coach Wilbert Ellis. He calls out his name, Roger Cador. James Bradford, Rick Gallo and his wife, Rick was still president at the time. All of these people just rush him. I spoke, but I kept going to my seat. It took him about 30, and I'm not exaggerating, about 30 to 45 minutes to get to where we were going to sit. He was hugging and kissing babies, and you thought he was running for office. They announced his name, and the PA announcer said, the legendary Roger Cador. I thought they were going to stop the game for a second. He gets to where I'm seated, and he sits down and he looks at me with that smile. I said, you satisfied? He said, Mr. Rutledge, the important people know who I am. As if to say, it's good now that the young lady at the ticket didn't vote his name. I absolutely loved him for many years. Rarely a day went by that we did not talk. And I want to say to this family that it is my prayer that the Lord shall bless, that he shall sustain you in this moment, but that he shall forever bless his memory. God bless you.
As Jeremy makes his way to the podium, we have 2 resolutions that we don't take the time to read, but one resolution is from the Southwest Athletic Conference and the commissioner, and then the other resolution is from the Southern University Board and System Directors honoring Coach Roger Cador. At this time, we'll have his son Jeremy come just to say thank you to those who have come today.
The best investment you can make is in a human's life. The most profound thing I ever heard my father say. I want to tell Mom Betty thank you for putting your life on hold to take care of my father because I wasn't able to be there. All the people that showed up, players, constituents, politicians, everybody here, for what you put into this service. It was beautiful, and I thank you. Y'all have a blessed day.
And then before we close, we also would like to acknowledge the mayor of Baton Rouge. Mayor Sid Edwards is here. Let's put our hands together for the mayor being here. Thank you, sir, for being here. And what do we say about this icon of a man, this giant of a man, this pioneer, this revolutionary, this motivator? Coach Cador was all of that to us. And for those of us that played for him, our lives are forever indebted to him for the chance that he took on us as young men. And it's because of that chance that we stand as future husbands, as future sons, as future fathers and businessmen who know what success looks like because we got it from the best, our coach, Roger Cador. We also want to acknowledge here with us today, Sid Gotro, Sheriff Sid Gotro here of Baton Rouge here. We also have former LSU coach and champion, Coach Paul McNary here with us as well. We would like to just acknowledge them. And so as we close, we're gonna have a word of prayer. And I'm gonna ask the baseball team to stand as we have this word of prayer. And this word of prayer is going to simply be,
I want the chairman and Ronnie Whitfield and Donald Ray Henry, all members of our Southern University Board of Supervisors, to join me real quickly. While we know that the field house is named for Coach Cador, we plan to present to the Southern University Board of Supervisors something here very soon to provide for a more prominent acknowledgement of Coach Cador by way of the baseball stadium and field. So stay tuned. Thank you.
and as a baseball team that's gathered for this occasion, as we did prior to the service, I'm going to ask that we do the prayer that we did in the back, like we did every time we were about to take the field to play the opposition. And that prayer is simply the Our Father prayer. And fellas, we're going to do this together one more time in honor of our coach. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. You may be seated, fellas. At this time, we're going to turn you over to the hands of the funeral directors. And as they come, I'm going to ask Brother Tony Williams to lead us out as the baseball players will take their place to lead Coach Cador out of the mini dome. Baseball players, please stand, and I want you to follow Tony. We're going to exit each row individually toward this black curtain, and we want to follow Tony all the way around, fellas.
Thanks for those cards. Thanks for those. Oh my God. Broadway's like brothers. That is Sunday the lost to you at his time. Oh, yeah. Daniel, you and I well, they say so. No, you are. I mean, I just put I knew his face. Yeah. Dennis and I made a whole lot of money. Dennis is one of the best boys you ever. Oh man, great friend of mine. Oh, he don't like many times. That's your hunt and all that. He's like my friend. So he called me. After talking to Dennis, he called me. Dad, he said, kid named Cam Smith, man. I said, come here. We're going to give those things to him. Hey, good to see you. I love you, bro. I'm going to tell my guy. We're going to do it right. We'll do something. Hey, man, I'm going to tell him I saw you. I'm sorry, I didn't know who you were. Well, yeah, that's okay. I think you're going to see me. He's not returning that call. No, I tell you what, I asked him about I got it. I got a lot of respect. He came there and stayed 3 hours. All time. And Steve couldn't believe it. I said, well, we talked about things way back. Great adversary. We had a great friendship also. Coach Robinson, yeah. So let me tell you how we met. He got sued down here for one of his boys for $10 million. They hired him to be over there. And he kept him all. He had my lawyer. He said, you Tony Clay, he said, you sued me for $10 million, all right? That's wrong, and you need to drop the suit. All right. When he left there, after like an hour, I dropped the suit. Yeah. But he told me one day, he said, yes, sir.